Hey, Johnny Leaks, Leak Stoppers Inc. Want to show you guys how to address a hot house, overworked air conditioner, a wet and funky house in the summer. If you just can't keep it cool, you can't keep it dry, got the answers for you. This is a diagram or a sketch of airflow in a home that's not up to code, that's struggling to make cold air. This is a sketch of a home that's up to code, up to building code, that's properly vented and sealed, where we're going to have very efficient and comfortable dry air. Let's start off with the common home here. Well, I'm on Long Island, New York, so most of the homes we deal with are 50, 70, even 100 years old. So they're far from today's building code, and flaws that the homes have are like this. What we have here is an overhang, and most of you have a vented vinyl soffit on your home, but 19 out of 20 vented vinyl soffits in my district here, Long Island, are obstructed by a piece of plywood from when the home was built in the 50s, or added insulation by homeowners and even insulation specialists who obstruct the airflow. There's a little ignorance, and there's a lot of ignorance in the industry, but one of the things that people do is they block that eave thinking cold air is coming in. That's why the house is cold in the winter. And that's a huge misconception, because that has absolutely nothing to do with keeping a house warm. By stuffing that, you're actually just destroying the roof and creating these kinds of inefficiencies. So with a non-vented soffit and air exiting the roof, everyone has vents. Most houses were built with at least gable vents, but over the decades of roofers answering the question, your question, the consumer's questions, my house is hot, it's too hot, what are we gonna do? So over the years, contractors and corporations have come up with attic power fans, whole house ceiling fans, and then of course roof vents. And now the shingle manufacturers all insist on ridge vent as part of their system. So everyone has tons of exhaust. It's very rare that a home doesn't have a place for air, hot air to leave an attic. So it's very common to have too much. Believe it or not, yes, too much. You can have too much air exhaust from a ridge. If you have more exhaust than you have intake, the shingle manufacturers call that an imbalanced ventilation system, and they void your warranty. Because what happens is, when that hot air is leaving the ridge vent in the winter, let's talk real quick about the winter, humid air, conditioned air from the house is drawn into the attic, which creates rot, ice damming, corrosion on the nails, which of course voids the warranty. That's another video. Back to summer. In the summer, we have, in this diagram, I'm showing a power fan that's activated. It's sucking out hot air, and it's getting its air from the ridge vent and the gable vent because they're right there, they're right next to it. So normally you'd want air coming out the ridge vent and the gable vent, but without any air entering the attic, you have a lot of lift and power from the power fan. So it starts pulling air from wherever it can get it, this fan. It can't get it from the soffits. So you can see here these dark blue arrows in the attic. So that's right, that's air conditioning. So the air conditioning is being pulled through old hi-hats, attic access doors or hatches, leaky HVAC systems, and 9 out of 10 bathroom fans lead to an attic. They can't do that. They need to vent out through the roof, and they can vent to the soffit, but if the soffit is vented and air's entering the soffit, what you would have is bathroom steam leaving and entering immediately, which we don't allow. Many building codes allow bathroom fans to vent to the soffit. That is ridiculous. At Leak Stoppers Inc., I'm a scientist, and I've had tens of thousands of guinea pigs, my customers, since 1991, with rotting houses and rotting sheathing because of that situation. So always the bathroom fans vented to the roof so that air goes into the atmosphere without any chance of re-entering an attic. And it'll also have a baffle to stop air from leaving in the winter. Back to summer, back to your air conditioning issues. So when the power fan is pulling air in the ridge vent and you're not getting a good full flow and you have that suction and lift, now that dense heavy air conditioning is being pulled up to replace that air that's being sucked out. So now your house there's a vacuum in your house now. This vacuum creates a vacuum down here through these openings. Now this vacuum is going to start pulling hot, humid air in through your drafty doors, your drafty windows, and if you've had Pella and Marvin and all these guys make triple pane and well insulated windows, this will be less, so air is going to have to find its way into your basement through a basement window, and if that's been sealed, then we're going to have your chimney. Most chimneys don't have inline dampers in them also because they're older and it wasn't code. So now with the chimney not fired up in the summer, hot air has an ability to be pulled down the chimney stack and then out at the base of the boiler, and it's hot, humid air. That's why your dehumidifier is running, and that's why your basement's funky. So now you got this damp, funky, wet basement because you're pulling in all that humid air and you're running your humidifier and you're starting to air condition it, and it's funky down here. Then you get into your living space and you've got your air conditioner blowing cold air mixing with one cycled air that's been pulled through the air conditioner once, so it's semi-cooled, semi-dry, but it can't really dry out because you keep getting more of this wet, funky air entering your house. That's why your house is funky. That's why your HVAC just keeps going on and off, because you're air conditioning your attic. Crazy. So at Leak Stoppers, I'm at my house now, I'm in my bottom level. So once I figured this stuff out through the destruction and failure of roofs through my 26 years in business, I immediately started caulking windows and adding weather stripping, attic access doors. So we seal attic access doors with attic door tents. We retrofit hi-hats to keep air from drafting through old light fixtures. We duct tape and mastic HVAC ducts and seams at the ceiling fixtures, the returns for the air conditioning, the light fixtures. We use closed cell spray foam to seal those gaps. We utilize thermal imaging in attics to accomplish that. It's one of the things we do exclusively as a roofer. We're not just a roofing company. As a leak stopper, we got to put the roof on, we got to vent the soffit, we got to address the bathroom fans, we even address basement moisture. We do irrigation with rainwater and roof water to get it away from the house to mitigate the moisture that can potentially enter the attic. So from all aspects of moisture and leakage that I've seen and investigated through the 26 years, I found solutions for everything. And what I've also come up with is when you have a thorough solution from the basement to the attic for moisture inside a home and outside the home, you're unlimiting these manufacturers' lifetime product warranties. And now you don't have to worry about the manufacturer saying, oh, well, your basement, moisture, rot, mold, they're all limitations. So at Leak Stoppers, we unlimit limited lifetime warranties, and that's how we create unlimited lifetime roofing by Leak Stoppers Inc. I'm Johnny Leaks, Leak Stoppers Inc. It's how we do it.